What's up, guys? Welcome to Jew Whiskey. I'm Jeff. This is a channel where I offer my thoughts and opinions on a specific whiskey, and every once in a while I'll throw in other whiskey-related content. Today I've got a list for you guys. We're going to be going over 7 new or newish whiskeys that I really want to try. So it'll be fun. Stick around. Okay, so we're doing another whiskeys I want to try list. Have I done a couple of these already quite recently? Yes, I have. But Scotland makes a whole lot of whiskey, and I want to try it all. Unfortunately, I have crunched the numbers. Turns out not possible. First off, sounds expensive. Definitely don't have the money for it. Secondly, I would surely die of alcohol poisoning long before I met my target, which is why I believe in self-care and liver support. And that is why I take Now Supplements NAC free radical support. I'm kidding. I don't have a sponsor. That said, I do actually take NAC. I have no idea if it's effective. I have no idea if it does anything, but they tell me it should. And while we're on the subject of health advice, which is why I'm sure you're all here, today we are going to go over 7 bottles of poison that I want to try. Most of the bottles on this list are pretty new. Most of them, I think, came out in 2024, but some maybe last year, some maybe even the year before. The point is they're all relatively recent. To be honest, I'm far less concerned about the newness of the bottles and far more concerned about the how much do I want to try them-ness of the bottles. Anyway, that is the entire premise covered, so let's not waste any more time. As usual, guys, I do have a mystery pour in my glass. I'll usually give you a hint for these. So your hint for today is that this was the top spot. This was the #1 spot on a recent video that I did with the same premise. This is probably the whiskey I wanted to try the most this year. And lo and behold, I have it in my glass. Very exciting. Stick around to the end. I'll share with you what that is. And yeah, let's jump into our list. Oh, and like also, please. Okay, so number 7 is a ridiculous release, and it's one that I would never buy. And in fact, I almost downgraded it to just being an honorable mention, but it is a recent release, and to be honest, I'd be lying if I said I didn't want to try it. This one is the Ardbeg Y2K. Will this one be worth the money? No, probably not. Will it be good whiskey? Yeah, it's likely. I don't know yet, but you know, it better be for 550 pounds. It's not one I'm likely to try, but you know, Ardbeg, we give them a lot of slack for their gimmicks, and they're certainly gimmicky. This one, at least with their gimmick, we know that we're getting something with a good age statement. Anyway, Y2K, of course, a reference to the year 2000. This is officially a 23-year-old bottling. One I'll never buy. I'm not likely to try it. If anyone ever offers me a dram, though, the answer will be hell yeah. It could be a spectacular whiskey. Who knows? But still, back of the list. Ardbeg Y2K. At number 6, we've got a bottle from a brand that's not very popular. In fact, it showed up on a recent list where I asked my patrons to vote on brands that they don't usually buy from. And this one made it onto that list. So not a popular brand, but there is one bottle that interests me. As a result of that list, I started looking into the bottle and I thought, okay, that might be good. The brand is Glenrothes. The bottle is the 18-year-old. What's interesting about Glenrothes is they recently switched up their entire core range and they got rid of pretty much all of their older expressions. The 18 stayed on, but the 18 is now their youngest expression in the core range. There's nothing younger, there's nothing no age stated, so it starts with the 18. I don't know if they changed the formula from the previous 18, but regardless, I'm curious to try it. Again, this is a bottle that I'm not convinced will be worth the price tag, which is why it shows up towards the back of the list, but it's still something I want to try. Obviously, we have a good age statement. This one's heavily sherried, 43%, which might hurt its chances with some of you, but it's still something I'm curious about. Glenrothes 18. Coming in at number 5, we've got a whiskey that came out only a few weeks ago, maybe around a month ago now. This one is Kingsbarns Coal Town. Now, what's interesting about this one is that this one has been matured in ex-peated casks, and I say matured, not finished. The entire maturation in ex-peated casks. It's no age stated, and I think this is the cheapest whiskey on this list. I am interested to see where they go with this one. Kingsbarns is such a bright, beautiful whiskey. They have a wonderful distillate. And although I'm not always sold on using ex-peated casks for maturations, this one could potentially work. I do have some faith in the brand, so it comes in at number 5, Kingsbarns Coal Town. At number 4, we have Strathern. This one is the inaugural bottling. This is from a new Highland distillery, so of course it's going to be no age stated. Being an inaugural release, it's also not cheap. So that, of course, has to be a consideration for us as consumers. Either way, for our casks, we have it's triple cask matured, ex-bourbon, virgin, and ex-sherry oak, 50%. No idea what to expect from this one. obviously. Most new brands do go in a fully craft direction, these guys have, and most new brands are interesting. Apparently this was made using Maris Otter barley. Now I'm not a technical channel, so I don't know too much about barley or production techniques, but it's definitely not commonly used, and according to the brand, it makes our whiskey deliciously creamy, which sounds interesting. Now, of course, we do have to remember that this will be quite a young whiskey, so who knows if it's worth the 85-pound price tag, but still something I'm very curious to try. I'm always curious to try new brands, new distilleries, so this one makes the list. Number 4, Strathern. Coming in at number 3, we have the oldest whiskey on this list, or not oldest in the sense of like age statement, but it came out, I think last year, maybe even 2 years back, and it's the only non-Scotch on this list. This one is the Powers 12 Cask Strength. I love the regular Powers 12. In fact, I like it more than most of the Redbreast line, which is also from Middleton. This one comes in at 57.8%. Our maturation happened in mostly first fill ex bourbon barrels, as well as some Oloroso sherry butts. And this is another one that I may never get the chance to try because I'd heard of it before, but I thought it was maybe Europe specific or specific to a few markets, but it's actually more specific than that because this is exclusive to Ireland, which is not ideal. I mean, for me. Not because I wouldn't want to go to Ireland, I absolutely would, but usually when I take these big trips, I have to bring a girlfriend with me, and I think she would love Ireland too. I don't think she wants to go there with me because I would be drunk the whole time. I mean, yeah, it's a richly cultured and genuinely beautiful country, but what am I going to do there? Not drink? Be sober? Wander around in an overpriced, thick, woolly sweater taking in the architecture? In the land of Guinness? In Irish whiskey? It's not in the cards. Anyway, what was I talking about? Right, there's a whiskey that I want to try there. Okay, at number 2, we have a limited edition whiskey from a brand I really love. This one is from Leipzig. This is called the Triplewood, and this one I think came out last year. This whiskey is no age stated. It's been matured in bourbon, port, and wine. Comes in at a nice cask strength of 53.8%, so it'll be on the bolder side. And I don't know how heavy the cask influence is going to be or if it'll suit me, but like I said, I like the brand. A lot of people have tried this one and seem to enjoy it, so another one I'm very curious about comes in at number 2, Leipzig Triplewood. Okay, so we made it to number 1, and this is a whiskey that I think quite a few people are pretty excited about recently. It only came out just earlier this year. This one is the Laphroaig 18. Now, Laphroaig did used to have an 18-year-old, but it's been discontinued. That was a phenomenal whiskey. It's been gone for many, many years now, but they decided to re-release it this year, and I'm grateful for that. Of course, our price tag is nowhere near what it used to be, but who thought it would be? Not me. Now, of course, like everything else on this list, it's not a whiskey I've tried yet, but it's number 1 because I think this could be really something special. This has been either mostly or entirely bourbon cask matured, which is music to my ears. Nice, healthy 48%. Laphroaig is not always a brand that I get along with. I don't always love their releases, but a lot of their older stuff is genuinely impressive. So yeah, this is one I'm really excited to try. Comes in at number 1, Laphroaig 18. All right, that was the list, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. And I know I've done a couple of these quite recently, and this is the 3rd in this series, but as long as they keep putting out new and interesting whiskeys, I'm going to keep talking about them. And of course, I want to pass the question off to you guys. So what whiskeys, what new releases out there call to you, beckon to you, titillate you? Finally, for those of you who stuck around to find out what the mystery pour is here, your hint earlier is that this was the number 1 choice on a recent video with the same premise. What I'm drinking is Longmorn 18 Cask Strength. Now, this bottle hasn't even made it to my market yet, but luckily for me, I have a very generous friend who did send me this bottle, and I'm grateful for that because this is probably the bottle that I wanted to try the most this year. And here it is in the glass. Is it any good? Yes, it is. Am I going to tell you any more than that? No, not yet. Stay tuned for the review. That will come out when I feel like it. I mean, I will try and get to it sooner rather than later. I know there's a lot of people out there who are curious about this bottle. But yeah, now I need a segue into, and that's it for today, guys. And that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I've got both Patreon and PayPal linked down below if you want to help keep the channel financially sustainable and independent. Big thank you to my channel members, my patrons. Thank you so much for the support. And finally, if you've got anything you want to leave down below with regards to what you want to see reviewed down the line or any suggestions for the channel, feel free, and I guess we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.